This is Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. I'll read the words from Spiegel, a German weekly news editorial magazine called by British magazine to be one of the most important journalist publications in Europe, and it has become that in about a half century in print. Its sister organization Spiegel, Der Spiegel is print, Spiegel is online. Spiegel began in 2000, and this text is from Spiegel Media Pro Markus Feldenkirchen. I'll explain where I am at the end. I'll also explain getting a thank you for doing this from Markus Feldenkirchen, writer. Also, I'll explain some of my tension. Now, I read the text from Spiegel by Markus Feldenkirchen. The murders in Charleston have plunged the U.S. into a debate about racism. Why is America only now having an honest debate about racism? The dead from Charleston are also the dead of a nation that has long refused to work through its past mistakes. The United States excels at dealing with the injustices of other countries. They often even help other countries cope with their shameful past. Germany will always be grateful to the U.S. for sending American troops across the Atlantic to defeat the Nazis, and for insisting the Germans be held accountable for the crimes they committed. The Nuremberg trials gave Germans the opportunity to own up to what they had done. They could no longer deny it. The U.S. has been less successful, however, in conducting the same process when addressing the dark spots of its own past. This includes the treatment of Native Americans who were brutally repressed or even killed in order to clear the way for westward expansion. They were betrayed, neglected, disrespected. Today they live on reservations in some of the saddest living conditions that civilized world has to offer. Americans seem even more forgetful when it comes to the history of blacks who once snatched from their homes, forced into ship galleys, and kept like animals for centuries, even after the end of the Civil War, the official abolition of slavery. It took another 100 years before the discriminatory racial laws were finally lifted. To this day, the U.S. has never issued a formal apology nor made any attempts at redress, let alone compensation. Instead, many patterns of institutionalized racism still exist. When a clean break from the past is not made, it may be difficult for people to part with their old ways of thinking. Indeed, not only do many Americans continue to hold twisted notions about the superiority of whites, but these beliefs often go unchallenged. Imagine 150 years has passed since the American Civil War ended, and only now has a national debate begun over whether some of the symbols of the South are inappropriate. 9 black people had to die in Charleston, executed by a white Nazi adorned with a Confederate flag and other symbols of alleged white supremacy. It seems that there was never a thought given to the fact the South went to war against the North partly to order to defend the right to continue to hold blacks like animals, to put them in chains, to beat them when they were down. How is it that for many politicians, the American citizens, the flag has only now become a little embarrassing? Why are people only now asking whether it's really a good idea to name streets and public spaces after the greatest generals in the fight for slavery? They may have been brave soldiers, but if they were fighting for a despicable cause, they should not have monuments built in their honor, unless, of course, we believe that what they stand for is really not so reprehensible. On the Mall in Washington, and not somewhere in Germany, one can find one of the best and most poignant Holocaust museums in the world. Yet similarly impressive museums dedicated to the history of slavery, to racist policies throughout American history, or to the treatment of Native Americans are missing. Thomas Jefferson is the author of the Declaration of Independence, enshrined on the Mall in a monument fit for a deity. The fact that Jefferson was in fact a brutal slave owner is something one only learns at his former estate in Monticello. Perhaps not surprisingly, that fact is not prominently displayed. To date, the American treatment of its own dark past is so ignorantly passive, so intentionally vague, so denial, that it begs the question: do the majority of Americans feel any guilt or acknowledge any wrongdoing toward blacks and Native Americans? Every nation has dark spots in its past, and nowhere are those spots darker than in Germany. However, the greatest of a country is reflected in how it deals with this past and whether it critically examines in respect. In this respect, the United States is not the great nation it believes itself to be. And fiend, words of Markus Feldenkirchen. Beginning comments, Tom Doody, from NYC Subterranean. 14th Street, FM train uptown deck. 6th Avenue. In the text attached to this video includes several things. Listeners have reached the end and now are hearing me speak. Those same listeners are more likely to click a little further. Listeners, if you are the ones to do that, you will find a screen capture of a tweet from Markus Feldenkirchen thanking me for doing this. Now, this is my third version of it. I have no reason to believe he knows I've done 3. He thanked me on the occasion of the first one, which came to his attention with the help of me finding his Twitter account and sending it to him. I do not know Markus Feldenkirchen. I have yet to read anything else he has written. However, I have been reading from Spiegel for about 6 months, and I've heard of Der Spiegel throughout other things I've read for years. I want to be clear that in my blog, I write of the potential of this text, the potential of taking it out in public, the potential of what I'm claiming to be one American looking in the mirror, doing exactly what I'm doing here. I'm experiencing profound emotion by doing this. This is my third occasion, third time. It feels no less profound than the first time. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel bad. It feels inspirational. If more Americans were to do this, do what I'm doing, one American looks in the mirror. It could be a digital version of the monuments we don't have that Markus has referred to their absence. The museums we don't have that Markus has referred to in their absence. Many people, perhaps many that dump ice water over their heads for the Great Bucket Challenge, or just a tiny portion of the number of people that listen to Psy do Gangnam Style. This is the kind of looking in the mirror that could prove to be important. It feels important to me. Michael Jackson sings Man in the Mirror. And there's nothing Michael Jackson sings and dances to in the music that sounds bad. Nothing, in my opinion. I listen, there's nothing. I hear his voice, I like it instantly. And that's not just posthumous. That's always. Not that I was a huge fan, but his songs always brought a smile to my face. So he sings about Man in the Mirror, and it brings to me Michael Jackson. But I don't think that's really the complete depth of the song. On this occasion, reading the words of Markus, experiencing it myself, minus the entertaining, feel-good capacity of the late Michael Jackson, I think in some ways this comes closer to what maybe Michael Jackson was asking us to do in that song. I don't think Michael wrote the song, but I do believe it was within the genre of what he would like to see in a better world. And I feel in some way this respects, this one American looks in the mirror respects his message. The hashtag, I use the digit 1, American looks in the mirror. 1, I'm speaking for